I was on a road trip, driving back from a job interview in another part of the country. I decided to extend my trip a bit and make it a mini vacation, so I chose to drive instead of taking a plane. It was a rainy night, which usually makes for a peaceful drive, but the darkness and heavy rain made visibility difficult. Most of the drive took me through dense forests on long one-lane roads. The journey was supposed to be around 10 hours, and with the rain, I expected a slight delay. Around 1 a.m., I checked my phone and noticed that I was 62 miles away from the next turn. Surprisingly, Apple Maps was guiding me on a different route than the one I'd taken before. Initially, I didn't see it as a problem and continued driving. However, after about 30 minutes, I looked at my phone again, and it still showed that I was 62 miles away from the next turn. Even worse, my car icon on the map was frozen, and the app wasn't responding. The navigation only said turn right in 62 miles without providing any road or street names. I felt lost, not knowing where to go or when to make the turn. Despite the inconvenience, I kept driving, hoping that the issue was just a temporary internet connection problem that would resolve itself when I got out of the dense forest. However, an hour passed, and I was still surrounded by trees and heavy rain. I began to realize that something was wrong, as it shouldn't have taken this long to get through the forest based on my previous experience. In the distance, I noticed an intersection with a truck parked on the side. I thought they might be experiencing the same navigation problem I had, so I slowed down to take a look at the street sign. To my surprise, I thought I recognized it, although I wasn't entirely sure. Trusting my instincts, I made the turn, hoping I had chosen the right direction. As I continued driving for about an hour, I realized that my sense of direction had failed me. I had definitely not spent this much time driving through the forest on my way to the job interview. The rain kept pouring, adding to my frustration and unease. Despite feeling lost, I pressed on, hoping to find a way out of the forest. In the distance, I spotted a faint glow of a billboard sign, indicating a motel in the middle of this isolated forest. It seemed like an odd location for a motel, but I pulled into the parking lot to figure out my situation safely. To my surprise, the entire parking lot was empty, with not a single car in sight. Shortly after, the same truck I'd seen earlier at the intersection pulled into the lot a few spaces away from me. I couldn't see much through the rain, so I focused on trying to fix my phone. After about 15 minutes of frustration, I gave up on my phone and decided to go into the motel to seek help, or maybe get a room. However, just before I could make a move, a knock on my window startled me. I rolled down the window a little, allowing rain to splash onto me, and asked the man what he wanted. He said he needed directions to a specific address, but I had no idea where it was. Feeling helpless, I told him I was lost too. He smiled eerily and returned to his truck in the rain. Feeling uneasy, I quickly ran into the motel, hoping to find someone at the front desk. However, the front room was dark and empty, and no one was there to assist me. As I peered over the counter, the front door opened behind me. To my horror, the man from the truck stood there, soaked from the rain, with a cold and sinister expression on his face. His hand was suspiciously shoved in his pocket, and I felt a sense of danger. Without hesitating, I tried to walk past him, and though he stood firmly in my way, he didn't stop me from squeezing past him and escaping out the door. I hurried to my car, but the man followed me, catching up quickly. I managed to get into my car and locked the doors just in time. As he reached my window, he stared at me with furious eyes, trying to forcefully open the door. The car rocked back and forth as he pulled on the handle with all his strength. Thankfully, my car's auto-lock feature saved me, and I drove away as fast as I could, almost running him over in my haste. I returned to the intersection and drove back the way I had come. relieved to leave the isolated forest behind. After about 20 miles, I reached a city and got the help I needed. It turned out that the motel I had stopped at had been closed for a couple of months, and no one could explain why the sign was still operational. I don't know what that man's intentions were, or if he had planned to trap me at the deserted motel. Nevertheless, I consider myself extremely fortunate to have escaped that terrifying encounter unharmed. Thank you for joining us for this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Goodbye.